إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الكلام كلام الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار وبعد. Ikhwan, in the light of the various events that we've seen manifest in this particular era, from the various manifestations of shar and evil that have come from the Khawarij, one of the sad realities that any individual who analyzes these situations, he comes to a conclusion that those from among them who carry out these types of actions, who are sincere, if they have sincerity, then they carry out the actions on the basis of them desiring taghyirul munkar, on the basis of them desiring the changing of evils. That is what they claim and what they oftentimes utter. And thus when they have their basis, the basis for carrying out the evil that they carry out, taghyirul munkar, changing evils that are manifest, it is then imperative that we understand, when we conclude that it is obvious that their concept of changing munkar is mukhti, that they are mukhti'een, and they are individuals who have erred in the concept of changing munkar, taghyirul munkar, then must have qawaid and principles that Ahlul Sunnah they work with. Changing evil. What are the principles that Ahlul Sunnah work with as it relates to al-inkar al-munkar, making inkar upon munkar and enjoining the good? This concept and this affair of enjoining the good and forbidding the evil, ikhwan, our scholars have mentioned, it has shurut, it has conditions, it has ahkam, it has fiqh. And it is not, ikhwan, just returned or just left to the desires and the whim of any individual, any do-gooder, anyone who believes that there is an evil that needs to be changed and I am going to do something about it. Since most of the Muslims are silent, and so we carry out that which is greater in evil, or we end up performing that which is or that which brings upon those who enjoy the good evil and those who are greater than them. Yani others from among the Muslimun are affected. Just as Allah Azza wa Jal has mentioned, as it relates to the affair of the evil and the affair of the fitna. وَاتَّقُوا فِتْنَةً لَا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْكُمْ خَاصَّةً. Fear the fitna that does not affect the one who perpetrates that evil alone. Therefore, ayyuhal ikhwa, the affair of enjoining the good and forbidding the evil, our scholars have mentioned that there are a number of ahkam and rulings related to it. Of course, the first of them, since it is an affair that returns back to ibadah and worship, the first and most important of them is that one has the sincere niyyah when he enjoins that good and forbids the evil. It is not done except for the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that, brothers and sisters, adding to the fact that it is an act of worship, it is something, therefore, that must fulfill the characteristics of worship and the pillars of worship and the qawaid and the principles that have been laid down with worship. No action is considered an act of worship except that it fulfills two conditions. That is that one, it is performed sincerely for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, and two, it is performed in accordance with the sunnah of the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and that includes enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. Oftentimes, ikhwan, and we've seen it being circulated, that which the people carried out, or that which these owners of the magazine and the publishing house, that which they did was a great evil that needed to be changed. and they needed to be taught a lesson, we hear people saying. And we hear them quoting the hadith of Abi Sa'id al-Khudri, مَنْ رَأَى مِنْكُمْ مُنْكَرًا فَلْيُغَيِّرُهُ بِيَدِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ وَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِقَلْبِهِ وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. Whoever sees an evil, then let him change it with his hand. And whosoever is not able, then let him change it with his tongue. And who is not able, then let him change it with his heart. And that is the weakest of Iman. They say, therefore, it is imperative that we change this evil that we see. How can we allow the Messenger ﷺ to be mocked and ridiculed, and we see no one standing or no form of change? And so, brothers and sisters, na'am, the first affair is husnul niyyah. But the affair, the enjoining of the good itself, must be done in accordance with that which our scholars have mentioned, and in accordance with that which is present within the sunnah of the Messenger ﷺ. The Messenger himself was ridiculed. How did he deal with his ridicule? Allah Azza wa Jal revealed to him, إِنَّا كَفَيْنَاكَ الْمُسْتَهْزِئِينَ, that indeed we will suffice you against those who mock and ridicule you. And thus oftentimes the Messenger, or the origin was that the Messenger would leave that mockery, leave that ridicule. He would not take out, or he would not avenge the mockery and the ridicule that took place with him. He would leave it. And so, ikhwan, it is imperative that we understand then, as it relates to the sunnah, that which is connected to enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. What are the principles that our scholars have mentioned? From the affairs that our scholars mentioned, is that the asl and the origin is anna darar la tuzalu bidarar, that evil is not changed with evil, and that if it overwhelms our suspicions that our enjoining the good in an instance is going to lead to a greater evil, then it is not binding upon us. Bal, it is wajib, in fact, to abandon enjoining that good and forbidding the evil if it leads to an evil that is greater than it. Our scholars mention numerous principles and qawaid. From them, ayyuha al-ikhwa, as it relates to this affair of ad-darar and harm not being removed by that which causes harm or greater harm, Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, he mentions, rahimahullah, قد أمرنا الله سبحانه وتعالى أن نزيل الشر بالخير بحسب الإمكان ونزيل الكفر بالإيمان والبدع بالسنة والمعصية بالطاعة. That he mentioned that indeed Allah Azza wa Jal has commanded us to remove, as it relates to that which is connected to evil, to remove evil with khair, to remove evil with good. He said in accordance with ability. He said, and that we remove kufr with iman, and that we remove bid'ah with sunnah, and that we remove sin with ta'ah. And that is not that we remove sin with greater sin. Similarly, ayyuha al-ikhwah, from the affairs related to this issue of enjoining the good and forbidding the evil, is that the sharia, from the qawaid that our scholars mention, is that the sharia has come with tahsil al-masalih and dar al-mafasid. That the sharia has come with the legislation of bringing about masalih, bringing about good, and the repelling of evil. And our scholars mention qawaid and principles connected to that. That they say, mathalan, which is a far' from it, that dar al-mafasid muqaddamun ala jalb al-masalih. That they mention repelling evil takes precedence over bringing about good. Whenever we're faced with repelling evil or bringing about good, and we're not certain concerning which of them should be done first, then repelling evil takes precedence over bringing about good. But we must first establish that the thing that we're enjoining actually is good. And that is from the principles that our scholars mention. That the thing that we're enjoining actually is ma'roof. And that ma'roof is known. That thing that is good, it is known and it is established. And so, on top of, or in addition to, knowing that the thing is good, we must have an understanding concerning how good is brought about, how good is spread. How did the Messenger ﷺ bring about good? How did he preach it? How did he spread it? That is from the qawaid and the principles that our scholars mention. As it relates to munkar and evil, we must understand likewise that the thing itself actually is evil. Not that which we have in our minds, or the concepts that we see or believe to be evil, that it is established evil. And from Ahl al-Ilm are those who say that the evil must be muttafaqun alayh, that it must be agreed upon that this thing is evil. Not something that some of the scholars may differ, or some of the scholars do not hold that it is a problem at all. Rather that it is established evil. And that when we enjoin the good, as we mentioned, that the enjoining of the good is enjoined with that which we see or know to be a maslaha rajiha, a maslaha or a good that overcomes, that it is overwhelming good. Even if it is not completely good, but we remove an evil with that which is overwhelmingly good. And that, brothers and sisters, is from the qawaid and from the principles that our scholars mention as it relates to the enjoining of the good and the forbidding of the evil. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala wa ba'd. Indeed, ikhwan, our scholars, I mentioned, as it relates to the affair of enjoining of the good and forbidding the evil, that there are some conditions and some shurut and some conditions that must be fulfilled before enjoining of the good and the forbidding of the evil is considered wajib upon us. From those affairs is a taklif, that is, that we are individuals bound by the Sharia. That is, that an individual, that the one who enjoins the good and forbids the evil, that he is from those who are of age, that he is from those who are bound by the Sharia. For indeed, the affairs of legislation are not binding upon, except upon the one who reaches the age of the ahkam being binding upon him. That is not to say that the young child cannot enjoin the good and forbid the evil. Of course, ikhwan, the origin is that if he knows of evil and he sees evil and is able to change it and is able to advise with that which is good, he does so, even as a young child. But the issue here is wujub. Is it wajib upon that individual until he reaches and comes of age? It is not wajib upon him until he comes of age. But when he comes of age, then it is imperative that he enjoins the good and forbids the evil if the conditions of enjoining the good and forbidding the evil are met with him. From those conditions, ayyuhal ikhwa, is al-qudra. That is, that the person, he has the ability to do so. He has the ability to change the evil. He has the ability to bring about good. And that there is no wujub ma'al ajz. That wujub revolves around ability, around istita'a, around qudra. And there is no wujub, it is not wajib if one is unable. Similarly, from the conditions that the scholars mention is the mas'ala of a tamkeen. That is, that a person is established or that he has jurisdiction. And that is that when it relates to enjoining of the good and forbidding of the evil, acting upon the hadith is not absolute for everyone. Whomsoever from among you sees an evil, then let him change it with his hand. It is not absolute for everyone. Rather, our scholars mention the mas'ala of a tamkeen, and that this individual has the jurisdiction. It is within his power and within his jurisdiction to make that change. If it is from the affairs that ordinarily return back, mathalan, to the instruments of government and to the departments within the government, and that is not for the general folk to involve themselves in enjoining the good and forbidding the evil, in that which returns back to the Hakeem and that which returns back to the ruler. As it relates to that affair, Al-Imam Sa'di rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions concerning the ayah and the statement of Allah Azza wa Jal, الَّذِينَ إِن مَكَّنَّاهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةِ. Those who, when we establish them in the earth, they establish the salah, and they pay the zakah, and they enjoin the good, and they forbid the evil. Imam Sa'di rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions, that is, أي مكناهم إياها وجعلناهم المتسلطين عليها من غير تنازع من غير منازع ينازعهم وإلا ولا معارض من غير منازع ينازعهم ولا معارض. He said, that is, that we establish them in the earth and we make them the ones in authority within it, without any munazi', without any dispute and anyone contending with them. That is, no one will dispute that they are the official authorities within this region or in that area or within that department or over that affair. And that, brothers and sisters, is something that we must understand. It is not as we hear the Khawarij saying, Ya khi, the ard, all of it is for the Muslimun. All of the earth is for the Muslims. And the earth is the earth of Allah. And we are the khulafa within the earth. Ya khi, that is not the case. Rather, the affair is, as our scholars have mentioned, it is for those who there is no munazi', there is no dispute. They are the ones in charge. They are those who have authority in relation to that affair. And so we see from the Salaf of this Ummah, Ikhwan, examples related to that. Tariq bin Shihab, he mentions, جاء رجل إلى ابن مسعود فقال هلك من لم يأمر بالمعروف وينهى عن المنكر. فقال ابن مسعود هلك من لم يعرف المعروف بقلبه وينكر المنكر بقلبه. He said, as Imam al-Bayhaqi narrates and collects, that indeed a person came to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and he said, indeed destroyed is the one who does not enjoin the good or forbid the evil. Since this was the strap line of the Khawarij, that we must enjoin the good and forbid the evil. And so he mentioned, destroyed is the one that does not enjoin the good and forbid the evil. Ibn Mas'ud bifiqhihi, and with his understanding responded by saying, rather, destroyed is the one that does not recognize good with his heart. And destroyed is the one that does not repel evil with his heart. That is, enjoining the good and forbidding the evil is not for everyone. And so the baseline or the default stage or the default level of enjoining the good and forbidding the evil is that one recognizes good with his heart, even if he is unable to fulfill it and unable to enjoin it, and that he repels evil and hates it with his heart, even if he is unable to change it. Because Ibn Mas'ud knows and knew that the enjoining of the good and forbidding of the evil is not going to be possible for everyone. And that is from the fiqh of the Muslim, that he understands that sometimes he sees things he's unable to change. And that, brothers and sisters, is from the fiqh of the believer. Likewise, we have the statement of Sa'id ibn Jubair, who said, قلت لابن عباس أأمر إمامي بالمعروف. He said to Ibn Abbas, should I command my imam, my leader, with good? Ibn Abbas said, إن خشيت أن يقتلك فلا فإن كنت فاعلا. He said, ففيما بينك وبينه ولا تغتب إمامك. He said that indeed, I said to Abdullah ibn Abbas, should I enjoin my imam with good? He said, if you fear that he will kill you, that is his leader. He said, if you fear that he will kill you, then no. And that is observing, ikhwan, the masalih and the mafasid, weighing up the good and the evil of the situation. If we're going to say, since we're hearing that the khabar and that which is related to France is in dispute, whether we're saying, to put the argument aside, whether it was Muslims or not, or framed, or a conspiracy, or whatever the case may be. If we say that it is and it was Muslims and it was the Khawarij, and that is from their actions, ikhwan. Because oftentimes we refute and repel that which we see, and it is as though we believe there is no such thing as the Khawarij. Where are they then? Tayyib. If we're going to deal with every situation that we see as a conspiracy, then where are the Khawarij that the Messenger spoke of? Where are they? Where do they exist? Do you have any examples? Something that you accept was actually from the actions of the Khawarij? One example? Every time we see the manifestation of that which the Messenger informed us they will do, we're quick to refute it, quick to repel it, quick to reject it. Where are the Khawarij then, Yaqi? What have they carried out then, Yaqi? Since the Messenger mentioned in every era they will rise and their heads will be cut off, where are they? And so we say then, the action that they carried out, look what it led to. Number one, the manifest evil that is present within it. And number two, the fact that it is inevitable that you will be killed, Yaqi. It is inevitable that your life is going to be taken. And then it is inevitable, in addition to that, that the lives of the Muslimun are now in danger. And at the very least that they're going to be harmed. And so where is this mura'at al-mafasid al-masalih? Where is this observing the good and the evil? And we round up, ikhwan, with the narration of Sa'id ibn Jamhan, who mentioned, Ataytu Abdullah ibn Abi Awfa wa huwa mahjub al-basar. He said that I approached Abdullah ibn Abi Awfa and he had lost his sight. He said, فَسَلَّمْتُ عَلَيْهِ, I gave him salam. فَقَالَ لِي مَنْ أَنْتِ, so he said to me, who are you? And so he said, قَالَ أَنَا Sa'id ibn Jamhan. He said, فَمَا فَعَلَ وَالِدُكَ. He said, what happened with your father? He said, قَتَلَتْهُ الْأَزَارِقَةِ. He said he was killed by the Azariqa. The Azariqa, a group from among the Khawarij. He said, لَعَنَ اللَّهُ الْأَزَارِقَةِ. لَعَنَ اللَّهُ الْأَزَارِقَةِ. He said, may Allah curse the Azariqa. May Allah curse the Azariqa. He said, حدثنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أنهم كلاب النار. The messenger informed us that they are the dogs of the hellfire. He said, قلت الأزارقة وحدهم أم الخوارج كلها. He said, the Azariqa alone or all of the Khawarij. He said, بل الخوارج كلها. قلت فإن السلطان يظلم الناس ويفعل بهم. He said, but indeed the leader, he wrongs the people, he oppresses the people, and he does such and such with them. And so he said, فَتَنَاوَلَ يَدِي. He said, so he grabbed my hand. He said, فَغَمَزَهَا بِيَدِهِ غَمْزَ شَدِيدًا. He said, so he took my hand and he dragged it severely. And then he said, وَيْحَكْ يَا إِبْرِ جَمْحَانِ عليك بالسواد الأعظم فإن السلطان يسمع منك فإن كان السلطان يسمع منك فأته في بيته فأخبره بما تعلم. He held his hand and grabbed him and he said, woe to you, Ya Ibn Jamhan, woe to you. He said, indeed you should cling to the main body, that is the main body of the Muslimun. Yani be aware of this Khawarij and these splinter groups. Cling to the main body of the Muslims. He said, and if your leader listens to you, then go to him in his house. Approach him in his home. Look at this observation of the masalih and the mafasid. Approach him in his home and inform him of that which you know. If he accepts that from you, then that is good. He said, وَإِلَّا فَدَعْهُ فَإِنَّكَ لَسْتَ أَعْلَمَ مِنْكَ. He said that indeed if he accepts it from you, then that is good. And if not, then leave him, for verily you are not more knowledgeable than him. And so we see the salaf of this ummah observing the affair of the masalih and the mafasid, looking at the good, looking at the evil, weighing these things up and having fiqh of the affair of enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى يوفقنا وإياكم لما يحبه ويرضاه وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد. قوموا إلى صلاتكم يرحمكم الله.